Hello friends, welcome back. Welcome to Spiritual Gifts and Talents Part 2, Precognition and Premonition. So that is our topic for today. I'm going to give a couple of examples and discuss understanding where this information comes from. So stick with me as we go through this process. First thing I want to say is be sure that you're doing your sacred fire meditations. Be sure that you're following the tips in my lucid dreaming videos. You have to be preparing your mind and emotions to be calm and alert and clear in order to start receiving higher consciousness. So you need to do the groundwork for these 4 videos, which are telling you what your gifts are, what your talents can be, these higher abilities which the advanced human can do. It's quite easy to do these abilities if you prepare the groundwork and if you pay attention and really work with it. So one thing I want to say you could start right away with is recognizing when synchronicities happen. Because when synchronicity happens in your life, it is your blueprint, your higher consciousness, giving you information that directly affects your future. So synchronicities happen everywhere. You've been trying to figure out a piece of information, suddenly it shows up. You're needing to talk to someone about a problem, suddenly you find someone who can help you. Synchronicities can be very subtle. You're thinking about a simple thing and you've just offered it up in prayer or some sort of affirmation, and something in your life interrupts your patterns of thought and brings you the key piece you've been looking for. That is also part of your precognition premonition, because that is lining something up for you in the moment for your future. And so another place that you can begin to start working your precognition and premonition is in your dreams. Dreams is where it generally starts, but it works all through your day. But let's work with dreams. This is where the beginning of a lot of it starts. One example I'll give you is many years ago in the 90s, I was single and living in Boulder, and I had a couple of astral out-of-body lucid dreaming experiences. One of them was I went to this big mansion and I met this elderly gentleman at the door, and he walked me through this mansion, and I saw this Napoleon painting on the wall in a gigantic dining room that could seat 30 at least, and all these antiques and works of art, and it was a beautiful place. And there's more to it, but I'm just giving you that idea. I then had another astral trip where I was inside a house and I was with this man, and we were standing in his kitchen, and he was talking to me about our compatibility, about how our minds were very compatible. And I got a very good feeling about him, and I knew what he looked like, and I understood that we had this very high mental connection. So it wasn't but a couple of weeks later, I actually met this man at the Boulder, in Boulder. We were at a bookstore, and we both went for the same book. Anyway, we had this connection. So I knew he invited me to go have tea and coffee, and so we sat down and we had some tea and coffee in our first sort of meeting there. And I knew immediately that he was the one that had been in my dream. And so we went out, and a couple of dates later, I began to tell him about this house and this mansion that I had had in a lucid dream, and turns out to be it was his family estate. And I told him about this elderly gentleman who had greeted me at the door. Turned out it was his father who was deceased. And I said, yes, this man lives in the astral worlds. He is attached to that mansion and all of his things, his antiques, his fine art. He was a man when he was in real life was very attached to the world and didn't want to die. He fought death to the last minute. And I met him because literally he was still anchored to the house. And but remember, the astral worlds are a mirror image of the physical world. So a duplicate of your life is created in the astral worlds. When some people go there after death, they go into the astral worlds and they live a duplicate life of this life, and he was doing that. But the point here is that I already knew who he was before he even came, before he even showed up. I had the same experience with a young man who just got out of chiropractic school, and I was in Aspen, and I was teaching workshops in Aspen, and I met this young man on a campus, a chiropractic campus, and I told him I would help him. And then when he shows up in Aspen, and comes to one of my gatherings, I immediately knew who he was, and so I knew I was to help him. And so we did a business together in Aspen. And so that again was situations with dreams. Dreams are always your guidance. I say this in many videos. Dreams are your guidance. You're never without a guidance system. Your guidance system is your blueprint. Look at your essence as a program. I've often said I'm updating our explanation of who we are, that we are avatars of our soul, and that we have a divine blueprint. This blueprint that houses our consciousness is like a program. And so everything you desire, everything you wish, everything you pray for, whatever, however you're doing affirmations, all that is feeding data into your blueprint. Your blueprint already has a map for your life, and it matches what your map is, your lessons and growth patterns, to your desires, and it begins to manifest for you these things in your life. So it is your divine blueprint that is your premonition, precognition connection. Once you begin to get very familiar with these astral dreams, these lucid dreaming, you'll begin to have conscious waking premonitions and precognitions. One of them I did when I was, I used to be a member of the Houstonians Club, and I've been there for decades and decades, and I'm not there anymore because I moved, but I had a girlfriend that I met going around the outside trail for exercise. She was going through a lawsuit. Her family was suing her for $5 million. And she was very upset and distressed. So I spent a lot of time walking around the tracks. We would meet up, and even at lunch, there's a little cafe there, and I would go through helping pull her down off the wall and sort of teaching her how to calm her body and her mind and focus. And I was teaching her a lot of just coping mechanisms. When one day we were walking on the track, and we'd been working together for several months through this lawsuit, and she was beginning to start to trust in staying calm and not panicking, and she was beginning to listen to me. I'd given her the book, The Power of Now. So she was beginning to be in tune with trusting, which was the issue, because her whole family was coming against her. So we were going around the track one day, and I said to her, if you will tell your attorney to do this, and I told her what to do, I said, this lawsuit will be over December the 22nd, and you will win, and you will not pay a dime. And that just came out of me. And very shortly thereafter, she did, well, for the week or so after that, she went and did what I told her to do, to give this attorney these videotapes and send them over to the other side, and to do these different things I had told her to do. And within a matter of 24 hours after doing that, they settled the case on exactly the day, December the 22nd, and it was in her favor. So that again was a premonition in waking time. And this is where you have to learn to develop trust in your own system, your own divine guidance, because premonitions and intuitive hits like this come from your blueprint. People have often called it higher self. You can call it higher consciousness. Higher consciousness is attached to the blueprint. And of course, the blueprint is multidimensional. And consciousness, you have a consciousness that's the animal human ego. You have a consciousness that's in fourth and fifth and sixth and higher dimensions. That's all attached to the blueprint. And the blueprint is a program. And so the program sends you information, and you feed the program information. So precognition is these hits of computer information, program information. And when you get these hits, don't disregard them. Don't think there's some wild imagination, because when these downloads come, they are something you were never even thinking about. You had no concept about it. You didn't have an answer to it. You didn't even, sometimes you don't even know what it is that it's talking about, but you get it. And when you get it, you process it out loud if you're speaking to someone, or write it down immediately, because this is a download from your blueprint. That's how precognition works. It gives you immediate downloads on something that's pertaining to the moment, which is also, I want to mention that sometimes you get these gut feelings where you get a lot of anxiety in your solar plexus. And a lot of that, I will say in the beginning, is fear-based and irrational. This is why you must work with the sacred fire and all my tips that I've given you about calming your emotions, clearing your mind, because you want to have that solar plexus, all your chakras clear, so that when you do get a hit, that's a warning, for example, and you may feel a sort of alert in your gut. Your mind and your emotions are also connected to this blueprint. So it's trying to tell you something in the immediate situation is not good for you. Stop, listen, pay attention. So that's another precognition, because it's telling you if you move forward, you're doing something to the future that's not good for you. So you have immediate warnings sometimes, even driving down in your car and you get this hit. Don't go the freeway today, go the side feeder roads or something. You take the feeder and there's this massive wreck. Well, you don't know. You could have been in the wreck, or at least it was going to delay you for hours. So these are downloads that you get from your divine blueprint. And the key we have to do is, friends, you're getting it all the time. You just have not been trained. We've not been trained to recognize our own abilities. And so when you learn to meditate and calm down the emotions, focus the mind into clarity, I've left a lot of videos on all of this. When you begin to clear out the ego astral world of confusion, and when you begin to stop all the addictions to the world, when you begin to clean up your family lineages, the bad parts of it, and you clean your system out, now you have this more direct connection to your blueprint. And your blueprint is always advising you every step of the way. And it is our job to learn how to receive the information, not doubt it, and act upon it. And so with all of these gifts that I've been giving you, like in part one about talking and interacting with trees and working with crystals, which can be highly evolved when they awaken their consciousness. And our next video is going to be on telepathy and talking to what people would say angels and guides. That's our next video. And telepathy is now a situation where it's not the same as what I'm talking about here. Precognition, premonition are downloads from your divine blueprint. So that is all I wanted to talk about today, was to give you an idea about precognition and premonition. It starts with synchronicities. Then it goes into a lot of dreams, getting advanced information in your dreams. Every time I've moved, I've known about the house before I moved there. Any significant person that has ever come into my life, I dreamt about them before I met them. I knew them when I met them because I'd been dreaming about them. So we're talking synchronicities, we're talking dreams. Then we're talking actual live hits in the world, either to help someone and you get a piece of information and you just tell that person that information you got, and you don't question it. You don't question it. You just speak it, and help someone. You can help someone like I helped my friend. And then you get warning signals and you listen. These are all the way the system works. And so if you have any questions, please, or experiences you want to share, please leave them in the comments below. And if you have any friends you think this could benefit, please share this video with them. And I will see you in video number 3, which will be on telepathy. Thank you.